Zahra, and welcome to your personal best year ever reading for 2019, as well as we're going to be looking at your birthday and the energy that's coming in for you just because of your personal new year. So welcome to your reading. This is going to be a really big reading, I feel. We have a lot to cover, so I'm definitely going to try and sort of get right into the channeled information for you, but I hope that you are doing awesome, and I have to say that I'm really grateful and honored to be reading for you again. Even as I was tuning into your energy during meditation, I just felt like you were so connected. So I just wanted to say that, and I hope you are going to have an amazing birthday coming up. And let's get into it. So I have my notes here, just a couple of things that were coming through during meditation. It was really interesting because I was having that strong connection with the fox energy as I was tuning back into you, and I know you mentioned that in your email, but it was coming through, I feel like, more than just what you had mentioned. It was kind of like, it's just very strong animal in your energy field. So again, it's coming through really strong. The first kind of things that they were showing me was actually related to, you mentioned like feeling kind of disorganized and having a hard time staying on top of things in your home. And I'm happy to share with you what they were showing me. So there's a few things. It's not traditional feng shui like wisdom, but more just like intuitive things that were coming through for me as I was asking for guidance from my guide Amber, who helps me connect with these readings. And she was kind of connecting me to your guide, who again I feel like was showing me their energy through the symbol of a fox. So they said that there's something about, there's not a whole lot that you need to do differently. I think that it's just going to be about dedicating regular time throughout the day to kind of stop and quiet your minds. And it's not like you would need to do a full meditation or anything like that, but they were showing me just this idea of like stopping, you know, if you're doing one activity, like let's say you check social media, as you're getting off of social media, don't just go into your next activity. Like stop, take a breath with yourself and look around the room and see if there's one thing that needs to be done. Like maybe you have some papers that are out on your desk and you need to file them, or you need to choose which ones you're going to keep and which ones you are just going to put right into the recycling. You know, just like a little thing here and there that while you do this activity, if you really stay present and you really stay like aware of your own energy and breathing, it'll just take 30 seconds and you'll just do these little things kind of throughout the day as you kind of just take those moments of presence with yourself. I feel like that's going to be a big part of what helps you to feel over time more in control of things in your environment, is just regularly coming back to a little bit of presence without the pressure of thinking like, okay, I need to meditate for 10 minutes. You know, it's not necessarily always like that. Sometimes we benefit just from taking a moment to ourselves to actually look around and observe our environment, and that serves to naturally sort of quiet your mind, and you'll notice something that you want to get done. Just do that really quickly, and you know, then kind of set your intention for the next activity. Think about what you're gonna do, if you're gonna answer emails, or if you're going to you know, do something online or call someone. Think about your intention before you do that activity. For you, they're making me feel like it's not like a huge life change that you have to do. It's not something that's not attainable. It's just little things throughout the day. Noticing little things, being a little bit more present is going to give you that sense of confidence in yourself, and it's going to give you that sense of being on top of things. The specific things they were mentioning though for your home, they showed me a red candle in the south and a blue candle in the north parts of your room. So you can use, you know, like what's the word? Just use the app on your phone that has the compass on it, so it shows you, you know, which way is north, which way is south. So once you kind of do like a clean on your house, maybe try and schedule this sometime before the new year, do a big clean, do a declutter, get rid of anything, and then once you've done that, they're making me feel like it would be really beneficial for you to, I'm just going to light another candle because I just smelled that going out. That's really interesting that that happened while we were talking about candles for you. I think that's amazing. So, there's definitely something to that because that never happens with that type of candle. So I'm kind of tripping out right now. This is so interesting. I'm curious what you get from that. So they were showing me the blue candle in the north part of your house or like your room. I would say probably like your living room if you can, but you can also do this in your bedroom. The red candle in the south symbolizes your outer power, and the blue candle in the north, they were showing me, is like your inner power. And I feel like once you, like I said, do a clean on your house, declutter, get rid of some things, some clothes, maybe some half-used beauty products or moisturizers that you don't think you're going to use anymore. They're showing me a little bit of that. Get rid of stuff, do a deep clean, and then do this. So put the red candle in the south and the blue candle in the north. And they're making me feel like having those 2 points, like in the room, whatever room you spend the most time in, is going to help you remember on a subconscious level that you do have like an outer power and that you do have an inner power. And what I mean by that is like, it sounds like what you were expressing with the person that was treating you so poorly at your job, the job that you had gotten and then you quit from. I feel like some of that is an imbalance between like what you're able to, like basically what you allow yourself to access in terms of your inner power and your outer power. I feel like you're not completely aware of both of those things. I feel like you also have more projected strength than you realize. So I know that you were mentioning that you feel like you have a lot of pressure. You put yourself under a lot of pressure to be nice, and that ends up making you feel like you're not being authentic. I feel like you actually come off stronger than you think people kind of assume, or that you think that other people kind of perceive. I think that you do have more, I don't know if I would say like prowess, but there's like more strength like radiating off of you and more confidence radiating off of you than you feel internally. Like you just feel like people kind of see you as like someone maybe who they can like push around a little bit. But I feel like other people, you know, I'm not saying they all see like your full power or anything, but they also see you as like a strong person. And when people treat you poorly like that, it's just because they have their own imbalances going on internally. And I really feel for you because I can relate to like the situation that you expressed. Like I can definitely think of some relationships in my life that have been that way, and because you can tend to, like Scorpios tend to internalize a lot, and we like listen and we process reality on an inner level. So I think that it's easy for others to kind of assume that because we're not saying things that we don't necessarily think them, or that we're not noticing things because we're not talking about them. But we are picking up on a lot more than we let on most of the time. And so I think that, like, I know what you mean, that, like, sometimes it feels like someone is just overpowering you because you're not as loud as them, or because you're not as, like, pushy as they are. But we do have that. Like, we can be that way. So I think for you, it's, like, about accessing some of these like strengthening traits that you do possess, which you've relegated to your unconscious self. You've relegated them to your unconscious mind, which again is really common with people who have your specific birth cards, with the Wheel of Fortune being your personality, the Magician being your soul, the Sun being your shadow card. I think we may have talked about this, but basically with this Sun as your shadow card, there's really positive, strong traits that you have that you're not aware of. And other people might be able to feel them from you, and other people might like react to them from you, and they might even be intimidated by you, intimidated by qualities that you're not even aware that you have. Like people, I hope this is getting through to you, but I feel like people can actually be like defensive of you, and not like defensive of you, but defensive against you almost, or intimidated by you in professional situations, which is maybe also part of why they don't treat you so well sometimes, because they might feel like intimidated in some way, and but you don't understand because you're not even conscious of those parts of yourself. You're still so young too, like you're going to be accessing more of that sun energy like throughout your life, you know, coming up over the next couple of decades. You're going to start to own those sun traits that you have, and you're going to become more aware of them. But I feel like right now you're still, it's not your fault. It's just you're not aware of some of those really positive, ambitious, you know, charismatic, strong traits that you possess that other people, just because you're not aware of them doesn't mean that other people aren't, and that can make them feel more competitive with you. Even though you're not feeling competitive with them, they're still picking up on that because they don't have a blockage to seeing that in yourself the way that you do. So I hope that makes sense. So they were saying that the red candle in the south can help you, like in the south wall of your home, can help you like remember some of those traits and access some of those sun qualities that you possess. And the blue candle is like really there to help balance that, so that as you become more aware of things that you have going on the level of your outer personality and those outer strengths, you're also able to kind of go deeper within yourself at the same time. So you're never putting too much focus on the outer or too much on the inner. So the blue one is there more to like kind of ground that and strengthen it and balance it. And you don't necessarily have to burn them, but I would recommend burning them a little bit when you feel out of balance, or when you feel like you need to remember both your inner strength and the outer traits that you maybe are still unconscious of yet, like the charisma that you have and the just the outer strengths that other people might see in you that you have a hard time witnessing within yourself. You can burn both of those candles. If you do so, I would recommend doing a light clean on the house, like, you know, at least cleaning the floors, cleaning all the surfaces, like tables and things like that, and wiping the windows, and then and that's going to make you feel better already. And then burn the red candle and the blue candle just for like 5 minutes and say a prayer, you know, like, guides and angels, please, you know, help balance me at this time. Help me become more aware of my strengths. Help me become more aware of how I can surmount the obstacles I have in front of me. Help me to stay orderly and focused and aware. And then just say amen, you know, and then you can just meditate for a few minutes and then put the candles out. I actually like to use a snuffer. So you might invest in one of these. You could probably get one for just a few bucks. Online, but I always use that because I feel like it kind of puts the flame out in a more gentle way than blowing on it. So that was the channel information for the feng shui and orderliness. Oh, they also said something about using like organizational cubbies or shelves. So you might take a little trip to the Container Store, or you might kind of think about like where you could store things in a way that'd be a little bit more cohesive and a little bit more put together, because I feel like that's going to really help communicate to your subconscious mind, like when everything is in its right place. I feel like you're going to stop worrying about so many things in your life. So, you know, just, you know, make a gradual process. This is not all going to happen overnight, but hopefully some of these tips will help you. Oh, and the last thing they said was put a small, it was really cute. They said put a small image of a fox or a small fox like figurine, whichever one you want to do. Put one like facing outward in your, like near your front door. It doesn't have to be visible to guests as they come to your house. They don't have to see it. So you can put, like, for example, an image of a fox like underneath your doormat, or you can put it like behind something, you know, on your porch in a clever way so other people can't see it. But I feel like that, and I don't know, as I'm saying this, it almost feels like maybe you already did this or something, or maybe like you know about this or you've thought about it. But they're making me feel like that will also help attract positive energy to your home. Okay, and then let me see. It also will help protect the energy, like your energy even when you're not at home, because your house is like a symbol for your overall kind of energy fields. So, and it'll protect your belongings while you're not home. Oh, they were also making me feel like you actually, even though you do work really well with people, like I do feel like you're a people person in a strange way. You are, but they were also making me feel like you are really well suited to working alone. And so I feel like that could come up for you at some point, like working more alone. Maybe that's part of your path as a graphic designer, or it could be part of your path just as an artist. Because you tend to reflect a lot of the energy that other people are putting out towards you. Now let's take a look at, I'm going to just take a look at some cards from the Green Witch Tarot for you. And then we're going to move into the month by month. They also showed me, they showed me a key, like a small old-fashioned key, and then it quickly turned into an anchor. And it was like an anchor dropping to the bottom of the ocean. So for me, like it kind of reminded me of Lenormand symbolism, which is like it's a different deck that is used for fortune telling. But the key card is about like a new idea that ends up becoming very successful. And the anchor is like traditionally associated with your work life. So I do feel like there's something successful coming in for you, like some kind of idea that starts out as like a conception or a conceptualization, but then it becomes something that you end up kind of tying your boat to, or you kind of end up like anchoring yourself in some way in life. So I do feel that energy coming up. Okay, so let's take a look at some cards for you. Zahra. Clear guidance for Zahra. Okay, that was actually it. Okay. So I'm doing the spread that I normally do for the artist tarot reading. I'm not sure if we've ever done one of those before. And then we'll look at the month by month. So you've got the 10 of Wands in reverse at the moment. With the Chariot, which is also called the Battle Wagon, this is the creative lesson you're learning, or the lesson that your creativity is teaching you. And this is really important for multiple reasons. Your hidden strength is the moon. That makes so much sense. Your challenge is a 8, which is the crone, which is the strength card. Your known strength is the Lady and the Lord. Wow. Okay. As a creator, your known strength is. And then the next thing to focus on, we have the 3 of Wands. I'm going to look at this. Interesting, like that we had that anchor visualization, and we have this 3 of Wands card, which has like so much to do with boats, which I find really interesting. So there's a lot going on in this spread. The 10 of Wands in reverse in the center represents sort of like where you're at right now with your creativity. And I know that creativity and self-expression is such a big part of your life. So with the 10 of Wands in reverse, it's saying where you're at is I feel like you're ready to make things more simple for yourself and not take such like an overburdened approach. One of the really kind of more challenging aspects of Jupiter when it kind of transits through our sign is that people don't like necessarily talk about, like if you listen to someone on YouTube or wherever like people are talking about it, is just that Jupiter can feel like really expansive, and it can feel like it puts so much on our plate. And I kind of get this sense from you, like there has just been a lot going on with the 10 of Wands. There's so many things you could focus on. There's so many things that you're wanting to develop within yourself that I feel like you're just kind of ready to focus on one thing at a time, really is what I'm getting from this. That makes a lot of sense because you have the Chariot here, which is your year card for 2019. 11 plus 11 plus 2019 would be 2041. And so with 2 plus 4 plus 1, we get the number 7, which is the number of the Chariot card. So 2019, you are going to be going into your Chariot year. You may feel this later in the year. It just depends on your astrology and other things that you have going on. So just, I'm telling you, pay attention to when you start to feel this picking up. You may still be feeling some of the Lovers energy because technically your birthday in 2018 is the Lovers. It's 11 plus 11 plus 2018 is 2040. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 is the number of the Lovers, and so that can be kind of a it can be something that you start to feel later in the year when you have a late birthday. So keep that in mind, that you might still be feeling a lot of this Lovers energy into part of 2019. And you could have been feeling the Hierophant, which was, or no, you would have been 2039. So that would be 14. Yeah. So that would have been Temperance, I believe. So with that, you could still potentially be feeling some of the energy from 2017 carrying over. And I'm curious, you can feel free to share this with me through email if you want to. Tell me like what the themes have been for you. But really what I get is that as we go through 2019, as you move into 2019, and you may feel it early in 2019, it's happened to me that way, even though I have a late birthday too. I've definitely felt the energy of my year card like on January 1st before. So keep that in mind, that it also depends on your astrology and like other things that you have going on. But with the Chariot as the lesson that you're learning with your creativity, it is about learning to be in control of your own life and learning to be in the driver's seat, learning to say and honor that directive within yourself that's very human, that says, you know what, I don't want anyone else to direct my life. Like, this is the same impulse that we have just as children when we're learning how to walk. It's like we want our own independence. We don't want other people to be controlling our own life. We want to have the ability to set our own schedule, to make decisions for ourselves, to be the decider of our own life. And that's really what I get is like the lesson that you're going through with your creativity is really about like learning to take charge, learning to be the master, learning to kind of set the directions for yourself. And again, we have that implication of part of that is about making choices. And you may struggle with making choices because when you have a lot of options, it can be distracting. So you can kind of go to your head, you can go to your mental faculties, and that can sort of take away sometimes from like the pure, like deep and abiding intuition that you do really have. So one thing I want to say to you, Zahra, is that I know you mentioned that you have a hard time trusting your intuition, but I really don't see that here. Like with the Moon card in the position of your hidden strength in the artist spread, I feel like this is saying, think about changing your narrative around like that it's hard to get things going or that it's hard to trust your intuition. I feel like you want to be really careful about saying things like that about yourself, because what I get from this, like the moon is smiling down on you. You are this woman walking up to the lake. Like when you get quiet with yourself, I almost feel like too when you go outside at night, like there's something about being outside at night that really clears you and opens you and connects you to something greater than yourself, like than your ego self. And I feel like you actually have a really, really deep connection with that mysterious force that we see shown on the moon card. Like, you're a lot bigger than you think you are. You're a lot more wise than you think you are. And you do have a really strong intuition. You do have a really deep connection to your inner being. So I feel like some of these like narratives that you might have for yourself are really coming from like the mind, and they're not really coming from the deeper self of you. Like I don't know if that makes sense, but when I tune into you, I feel like like that's really just on the surface that you think you have a hard time trusting your intuition. I feel like on a deeper level, you actually really trust your intuition, and you know that, and you know that it is spot on. So sometimes we have to go through experiences like what you went through with the pharmacy, the specialized pharmacy that you were working at. Sometimes like we are making decisions and they don't pan out the way we think they will, but everything is still going according to plan because we needed to learn those lessons, or we needed to grow and evolve those parts of ourselves, and that experience was just needed in order to grow in that way. So that's kind of what I get. And also, don't beat yourself up about that. With the crone as your challenge, this is the strength card. And with the reversal of this, I actually feel for you, Zahra, that there's something about like the challenge in your creativity. The challenge is that you assume that you're not mature enough. I think that you are perceived by a lot of other people, or maybe you think you're perceived as being quite young and youthful. And I feel like with the crone in reverse, I'm just going to take a sip of water. With the crone in reverse, it's like you are seeking validation almost like based on age or something like that. Like I feel like the challenge is for you to validate yourself without needing that validation from others, because you think that maybe they're judging you by your age or judging you by your temperament, because I feel like you are like a very charismatic person. Like I was saying before, I feel like you just have this natural like aura about you that people find pleasant, and I think that's why people want to help you and they want to like offer you things. And in general, I just feel like you have this talismanic kind of energy around you, but some part of you is assuming that that has to do with your age or with how you look or with how other people perceive you. Like some of that energy is maybe you're thinking it's maybe because of something that it's actually not, like it's deeper than that. It's more than what you think. So that's kind of something I see here, is like learning to validate yourself is the biggest challenge, which again is inner work. That's good. That's a good sign, because I don't see like a lot of external challenges. I more just see like inner validation. Your strength, your known strength is the Lady and the Lord, which is the Lover's card. So I feel like this card is saying like naturally one of your known strengths is that you know how to work with others. But I also feel like this goes deeper. I feel like there's something that they're saying here about your ability to form genuine connections. And I see something here about emphasis. And what I mean by emphasis is like, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way, because it's a really good thing, especially if you're going to be an artist, which I feel that you will, and you will be successful with whatever you want to do creatively. This is kind of saying you put emphasis in the right places. Like there's something about drama that you have a natural affinity for, and when you apply it internally, that can be negative, because you can have like, you can imagine like the worst case scenarios of things, and you can be like at emotional highs and lows and things like that. But with your creativity and with the things that you're creating, this card, the Lovers, is kind of making me feel like you know how to incorporate different energies to apply emphasis in the right places, so that it's eye-catching, so that it's kind of like, oh, I want to learn more about that, or I want to explore that, or ooh, that energy feels quite, like intense, or I just think you're good at conveying that. And I know that's like a really non-traditional read on that card, but that is just like really the main thing that I'm seeing, is like with the hunting dogs too, you have really good instinct for what is going to be dramatic, like a little bit dramatic, what is going to be just dramatic enough to kind of like catch your eye and make people want to be like, ooh, I want to know more. With the Three of Wands in reverse, I feel like the next step is really to trust your intuition, because again, with the key turning into the anchor, which I feel like they're drawing that vision that I had, connecting it really strongly to this card. It's about trusting your intuition, and it's about trusting your intuition specifically in matters of career. and doing the research and the homework stuff like after you've listened to your intuition about which direction you want to actually move in. So again, moving forward with that moon card and the Three of Wands very intuitively based on the inner insights that you get, and I feel like you're going to be really happy with the way that things are going. So let's take a look at the oracle cards for the month by month of 2019. For Zahra, 2019. Clear guidance for Zahra. Clear, loving, accurate guidance for Zahra. That was it. February, March, April, May, and June. July, August, September, October, November, and December. They're showing me the 7th chakra card from Energy Oracle. So I do feel like there's going to be some significant spiritual transformations, and they just now were making me feel like you're going to become, like you're going to be having more psychic experiences and more kind of predictive experiences. It may not always be like something that you understand why it happens, but it could be like little things, like maybe you know, have a dream about seeing a dog that looks a certain way, and you see that kind of dog the next day. It's like, it's not necessarily this thing that you know exactly why it's going on, but you are getting that confirmation from the universe that you're tuned in and that you're on the right track through those kinds of little experiences. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water. So January of 2019, we have chaos and conflict and happy family in reverse. So there could be some challenges with family life in January, and I do feel like there's going to be a little bit more intense astrology for everyone in January. I haven't actually looked into it, but just as I look at this, I feel like there is something going on because I've seen this a lot lately for the month of January. So just be mindful of communication. Definitely focus more on listening than on speaking in January, because I feel like that is going to help you to really come back with having actually heard the person that you're talking to. I think that's going to be really important, is not jumping the gun on like unnecessary conflict, or not like unnecessarily bringing too much conflict into things. January, there might be a tendency to have some miscommunication. So definitely, you know, just be gentle with yourself and others, give people the benefit of the doubt, and really focus on listening in January. February, we have a change in the wind with first chakra in reverse. So there's some kind of change. I feel like you're going to be like seeing your path kind of have a twist or a turn in it in February. With first chakra, this change is coming in to stabilize you, and it's going to stabilize you in a much needed way. So keep that in mind, that whatever this is, it is putting you on a path towards more stability within yourself, but do take some time to really connect with your first chakra. Maybe do some work with your first chakra, or make conservative choices around finances. Make sure you are just doing things to make you feel grounded, like walking barefoot. I do that in the mornings a lot of times, and also after readings, so I can ground my energy again, very literally. All these things will help you stay grounded during the time of transition in February. Like, you could be changing a job, or you could be kind of moving even. Like, there's some kind of shift happening in February, but it is for the betterment. for you. So March, I'm going to take one more sip of water. We have peace in reverse with envy. So again, I feel like this is kind of asking you to go inward in March. You might feel like I don't feel like this is envy of others or anything like that. I don't get that energy from you at all. I don't feel like you're an envious person. I feel like you're someone who creates like for yourself what you want and you focus on what makes you feel good. But I do feel like the envy card is saying that like peace comes when you look for acceptance and surrender within yourself and not within like the acquisition of an outside circumstance. Yeah, Ace of Pentacles and the Tower. So again, I'm picking up on something potentially going on with your living situation or career that is getting shaken up like in the first quarter of 2019. But again, keep in mind, if this transition feels a little rocky, it is supposed to feel that way. It's going to be okay though. Like this is going to work out for you. It's going to land you in a much more stabilized situation where you can feel free to be more authentic, where you can feel more kind of poised and abundant and rooted within yourself. So welcome these changes. Ride the wind of change is what I get from this. Like ride the winds. I feel like this is going to be something that will be really powerful for you. But you might feel like a tendency to kind of like seek more inner peace during that process because on the outer level, it could be a little disruptive. So that's March. Oh my goodness. Look at this. We have Yang and Yin and Yang both coming up in reverse in April. So with these cards, the Yin and Yang card, when it comes up in reverse, is talking about the Yang energy, and the Yang card, when it's coming up in reverse, is asking you to really take some affirmative action on your part. So I do see April being a more active month for you, especially just in terms of your energetic output. My guides just flashed before my eyes like a person with their hands over another person like this, but not touching. So I don't know if there's going to be like, if you're going to be doing some healing work, or if someone's going to be healing you, or if you're going to practice healing someone else, but there's something about that that's going on here. In April, there's like an exchange of energy. You're being asked to step up. You're being asked to take charge of something and really like either pursue something or pursue some kind of healing in April. Oh my gosh, look at this. These cards are so connected. Zahra, this is another indication for me that you are going to be having a lot of synchronicities in 2019 and that you are going to be having a lot of psychic experiences, because look how connected these cards are. You've got Yin and Yang on both of these cards. You've got Fork in the Road and Indecision coming up together in May. So it's like literally these cards are communicating the exact same thing for you. May, there is a fork in the road. You come up to a crossroads in May. So Fork in the Road and Indecision are talking about like an important choice that needs to be made in May. So this is going to be a time in which more could potentially be lost through indecision than wrong decision. So don't take this this crossroads too seriously. I feel like this is going to be something that potentially will impact your life, but I do again feel this as being something that you're being encouraged to sort of take charge of. Remember, we have the Yang, you're also in your Chariot year, which is about taking charge, self-mastery, doing things for yourself, and not being afraid of making mistakes, because that's just part of life. And also, like every step you take is going to end up being something that teaches you something, and it will end up, kind of helping you out later on. So don't be afraid of making definitive choices in May and just saying, you know what, this is what I have to do for my own well-being. And it looks like from whatever decision you come to in May, you start to build more stability in your life. Angel of Balance shows you getting your energy really in balance, and Building Blocks is talking about you kind of building your empire and really staying aligned within yourself and sort of putting the pieces together. building yourself up, building up some kind of new stability and strength. Again, because we have the pyramids and this is a building as well. So these are both structures. So we're seeing something coming in June where whatever you're doing in terms of your routine, your lifestyle, your schedule, your exercise regimen, however you're meditating, however you're running your day, basically in June is really good. I see you kind of finding a lot of balance. I see you working possibly on your body and your physical health, and maybe even achieving some like health goals that you've been working towards, throughout the beginning portion of the year. So that just looks like a really positive time in June where this first part of the year where we see some hard work, now the hard work starts really paying off in June. So keep June in mind as like a finish line type of month. I see it as a month where you actually start to reap the rewards of all of the inner work and the outer work that you've been doing and the decisions you've been making, hard choices you've been making coming up to June. Now let's take a look at July. Wow, look at your freaking cards, Zahra. Like, seriously, you're going to be feeling so psychic, so in tune with your life. You're going to be noticing so many synchronicities. I feel like you're going to be seeing a lot of like numbers too, that are important to you because you have time for a nap and rest and rejuvenation, which again are coming up like very similarly themed. Like the energy of both of these cards is themed so strongly, and they also seem to be reflecting the message that came in about your feng shui, like the red candle in the south and the blue candle in the north. We have the red energy and we have the blue energy here. So July is a time to take a break. Try and take some time off if you can. Really take a step back and give yourself some time in July to reflect on life without pushing ahead, because you've been doing so much work in the first part of the year. It pays off in June, and then July is like treat yourself, take a nap, take a break, take time off, sleep in, catch up on your life basically. Catch up on taking care of yourself. August, we have Orphaned in reverse with Caring Connection. So this is really beautiful because with Orphaned in reverse, it's telling me that new connections are coming in, or you're simply going to feel less alone. So it could be someone coming into your life that makes you feel less alone. It might be a romantic partner, or it could be a friend, or it could even be a new environment, like a new work situation. Or I'm really kind of feeling this as potentially romantic, or just like a really amazing friend that comes into your life and you start to spend more time with them. But Orphaned in reverse is always about kind of stepping out of a phase of feeling like you've been alone. And look, we have a 5 here, and this is 1 and 4, which is 5. So 5s are challenges, but we see a challenge that you've been dealing with, which is related to feeling alone in your life, is coming to a close in August. And it's coming to a close because you are embracing a conscious connection with another person. So that looks really good. Very beautiful, satisfying, loving connection coming in there in August. If that's what you choose to put some time into, I feel like you're going to be really happy with it. Wow, so September, there's some kind of victory coming in. The Breathe card is saying, relax, take a breath, because you have some victory coming in, and this is a time to celebrate. It's a time to be present. I find it interesting that you have a lot of like 10 cards, like 2 and 8 on the building blocks card. Rest and rejuvenation is 1 and 9, which is 10. Victory is 2 and 8, which is 10, which is your personality number. So I just feel like this is going to be a year where you will have success, but you're going to have some success through like working on centering yourself is really what this card is saying with the Breathe card in reverse, and all the cards that we've talked about like leading up to this in September is like a victory for you comes from really centering yourself, grounding yourself, and focusing on one thing at a time. October may feel a little bit bittersweet. That's the energy that I get from October, is that Milk and Honey in reverse with Woman Holding a Coin in reverse. I almost feel like there could be an unexpected bill or something like that. I don't feel like this is like life-changing or anything, but I feel like with these cards, there's something about like feeling a little bit, and it's interesting too because this is 24 and that is 6, so 2 plus 4 is 6, and 1 plus 5 is 6. So there could be something about like an unexpected expense or something that's maybe a little bit disappointing that's going on in October. It might mean that you either like it could be that you had like a financial goal maybe that didn't work out, or you just had an unexpected bill that kind of rained on your parade a tiny bit. But have positive expectations though, because Milk and Honey and Woman Holding a Coin are positive cards, even though they came up in reverse. It's saying you are getting what you want. It's just maybe not every single piece of what you want. So that's where I get the bittersweet energy. Is like there is some good things happening, but maybe there was something that you wanted to be part of that wasn't as involved in it as you were hoping. So just keep your blessings in mind. Count your blessings, because things are working out for you. In the long run, I feel like these desires are going to be met. I just think you're going to have to be a little patient in October. Next November, oh, beautiful. We've got Strength, Angel of Strength, and Poised. So something that you've been working towards for quite a while. I feel like you are poised to actually launch it or share it in some way. Something's coming to fruition in a positive way. You're feeling quite strong within yourself. Again, we did see that Strength card, which was, they call it the Crone in the Green Witch Tarot, which is coming up as your challenge. In reverse, now we see the Strength card in this Oracle deck, the Energy Oracle, coming up upright with the Poised card. So it's saying you're accessing some kind of confidence within yourself. I actually feel like your guide is kind of making me feel like I'm standing up straighter. So there's something in November, like maybe around your next birthday, where you just feel like you're achieving some kind of confidence that you've been waiting for, that you've been working towards, and you're actually feeling really secure within yourself and balanced within yourself. So I do see you achieving a lot of that. Now we have the Cornucopia card in reverse with Imagine in reverse in December of 2019. So I feel like there's something about these cards that's making me feel that in December of 2019, it would be best if you could kind of hole yourself away in your room, get some privacy, get some time to yourself just for dream time. Dream time is time for you to consciously meditate, doodle, draw, journal, pull some cards for yourself, and think about what you really want to create, because you have this new strength and confidence about yourself. You have these new experiences. You have some new connections in your life. You've undergone some really big transformations in the first quarter of the year. December, you're going to really need to come back to using your imagination in a positive way by imagining like what you want to do at that time, and like think about your best self. Think about what you want to achieve. Think about like where you want to go in an inspiring way. I feel like it's going to be important to use inspiration in December of 2019 and to really be forward focused in an optimistic way. It's like you could have this sense of potentially using your imagination for a more negative purpose, like imagining scarcity or imagining lack or imagining how things might not work out. But these cards for December of 2019 are saying, hey, remember everything that you've achieved here. Remember how the universe kind of steps in and supports you. Remember how we do have your back, basically. And think now we just need you to participate and actually imagine what you want to do for the next year. Like, what do you want to accomplish? Think about what would make you happy. And thinking about these things is going to help you create them with so much more ease. But overall, I do feel like 2019 is going to be a very transformative year for you. I definitely feel like there's a big emphasis in these cards of you, like with the Chariot energy, taking control of your own life and utilizing like the power of your focus, essentially, changing your focus, changing your mental focus to, really reflect what you want rather than what you don't want. Staying kind of disciplined and stubbornly focused on that is going to be really helpful. The first 5 months of the year, Zara, do look like the more challenging period. And every year there's going to be like some challenging periods. I don't see these as being like soul crushing or anything like that. It's not that dramatic, but I do feel like there's some hard choices that you're having to make in the first 5 months of the year. But then I feel like the last 7 months, basically from June to December, you have a lot of really like positive energy as a result of the energy that you put out in the first half of the year, basically. So, don't be afraid to make hard choices and stay really true to yourself. We have risk coming up. So that could be what some of these hard choices are talking about in the first 5 months, is like you might be making a choice to take risk, like maybe financial risk, or it could be the risk of just going into a new environment. But I feel like you may have a hard time taking risks sometimes. Don't do anything too risky. Don't do anything too out there. But, we do need to sometimes take some risks in order to have some rewards. And that's going to also be a theme for you. I'm going to get one more message. Emerging. Like, the beauty of this card and the message of this card for you is like bringing tears to my eyes right now. Oh my gosh, Zahra, I feel like you really are emerging in a huge way. And it makes me so happy to like feel this message for you, because it's like you are emerging, and you're emerging in a way that like you're gonna be feeling your own raw power, like your own raw strength. That's what's emerging. And it feels very feminine. Like, I'm getting chills saying this, but it feels like this raw, like feminine power is moving through you. This goddess energy is like moving through you. And channel that, like channel that. And I feel like you're gonna be amazed at the experiences that you can have when you channel like this powerful feminine energy that you have, that you've been kind of unaware of in yourself, I have to say. And I can relate to that too, because I also have your same birth combination. So it's like we have such a hard time recognizing those traits in ourselves, those sun qualities within ourselves. And I think that you're going to be taking some risks that help you become more aware of those strengths in 2019. And I do feel like even though there will be challenges, if you stay focused and if you kind of work on staying balanced and sort of having your hands around the different parts of your life and making sure that you're taking care of yourself, I feel like there's going to be some huge strides that you can make this year. And more than anything, I just see you being even more like harmoniously in alignment with your spirit, which is a really beautiful thing. So thank you so much, Zahra. I hope that this reading has been helpful to you. I see really positive things in this spread. Please let me know if you have any comments or questions or feedback. I would love to hear from you through email. Sending you so much love, and I hope you have a very, very happy birthday. I will talk to you next time. Bye.